Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Caty, and on this channel, we talk about everything relating to health, fitness, and lifestyle. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I actually used to have an old channel here on YouTube. And on that old channel, we would have these videos every so often called Coffee Talks. And the premise behind Coffee Talks was I would literally roll out of bed, grab a cup of coffee, sit in front of the camera, and just talk. And I would talk about whatever was on my heart and mind in that exact moment. And a lot of you guys really liked Coffee Talks, and so I wanted to bring it back, except on my new channel, on this channel. So today we are going to be doing a Coffee Talk video, very much long-awaited Coffee Talk video. Something else kind of exciting about this Coffee Talk video is I am also turning it into a podcast. So the audio version of this video, the podcast link, will be linked in the description bar below, so check it out if you haven't already. If you want to spice up your podcast game, the podcast version might actually be longer than the video version too. Not 100% sure yet. We're gonna figure it out. I haven't actually ever made a podcast before, so we're learning together here, people. But without further ado, I have my cup of coffee. Go grab your cup of coffee or beverage of choice, and let's get started. So today I wanted to sit down and talk with you all about the things that have been changing for me over the past couple months, specifically pertaining to certain ideologies that I've had and certain opinions that I've had that have kind of been flipped on their head a little bit and completely turned around. Over the past maybe 3 to 4 months, maybe a little bit longer, I have been finding that a lot of my personal opinions on things and certain ideologies that I've had have been totally changing. And I thought it might be kind of interesting to talk about and see if anybody else maybe feels the same way or could relate on some level. And I'm pretty sure a lot of these changing opinions have been happening because of a few key root things that have occurred in my life that I've taken notice of. Let's jump into that. Let's talk about that a little bit. A couple months ago, maybe not a couple months ago, I don't actually remember the timeline of this specific event occurring, but I was out having fun, having an afternoon out with a couple of my very close friends. These friends are some of my closest friends in the entire world. I think the world of them. I love them to death. And not only that, but they're very smart people. They're not stupid by any means. Up until this point, I think we shared a lot of similar ideologies and our opinions on things, especially in the political realm. I think we're very congruent with each other. They were very similar. So we were out having fun, doing whatever we were doing to have fun. And on this particular day, unfortunately, a shooting occurred in the United States, something that has been happening more and more frequently. It feels like every time a shooting happens in this country, I'm sure I speak for a lot of Americans, it brings up a lot of anger and a lot of sadness and a lot of terrible, it puts a very sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, as it should, because it's a devastating, horrible thing that happens. It's so sad to say this, but I don't even remember which shooting it was that happened. It's terrible that I can't clarify which one because I don't remember, because they happen too frequently. I was out with my friends when this happened, and we were not attached to our phones. We didn't know what was happening. We were very ignorant of this event happening, and we didn't find out about it until that evening. By the time that evening rolls around, we got a clearer picture of what actually occurred. There were multiple casualties, there were multiple people who were injured, multiple people who had lost their lives, and it was a terrible situation. It always is. And something that my friend said just kind of made me step back and re-examine the situation a little bit. The first thing this person said when this occurred was, "Man, this should not have happened. We should just ban all automatic weapons. It shouldn't be a thing. We should just ban them all." And if you are if you are watching this and you are not an American, if you are out of the country, that seems so logical. Like, why wouldn't we? That's not something that should even be a question. But if you are in the United States and you have basic knowledge of the weapons manufacturing industry or the culture here, you probably know this, but we've already done that. You cannot just go out and buy an automatic weapon. That's not something you can do. There are some key situations in which you might be able to do it. For example, if you own a shooting range or you are an actual like company working on them, I think you can get access to them, but I'm not sure of the details. And see, this just shows how much I know about the situation. Like, I really don't, I'm ignorant of a lot of this stuff as well. I don't know the ins and outs of gun law and gun reform, and I don't know the details. But this specific thing I do know, and that you cannot just go out and buy an automatic weapon. That's not something you can very easily do. And not only that, but in this particular instance, this particular shooting that occurred wasn't an automatic weapon. It wasn't even, that wasn't the weapon that was used. So to hear somebody who I really respect and really love, and who I consider to be one of the smartest people I know, to hear this person say that made me kind of step back from the situation and kind of re-examine it, because I was like, hold up. And we were driving when this came up, and I tried to say something and my friend wouldn't hear it. My friend wouldn't listen to me. I think my friend was angry, not necessarily at me, but at the situation, as many people are when these things happen. And so my friend wasn't really listening to anybody, I don't think. They were just kind of venting, which I understand. I totally get it. It just kind of made me realize how misinformed people can be. What other opinions are people so uninformed about? What other things are people talking about, especially in today's, climate, in today's political climate, where everything is very mean, I should say? What other opinions are people sharing that have no true basis in reality? And what are the things that people aren't even researching themselves? I think it's so important to gain a knowledge base that is accurate. And I know that it's very much more easily said than done, especially today, where everybody's yelling about fake news and this is wrong and this isn't real. Like, there are just so many news articles and so many places that you can go for information that you assume are accurate and you assume are correct because the person writing those articles or the person presenting that information is doing so from a platform of truth. Just that statement from my friend made me realize that so much of the information that I think people are absorbing is not accurate, is not the full picture, or is completely just untruthful. And so that happened a couple months ago, and it made me realize that I don't really know what I believe anymore, and I don't really know where I fall, because a lot of opinions I might have might not be based in reality. It might not be a real thing. It might not be an opinion that has factual grounding. And so that has been happening over the past couple months, where I'm trying very, very hard to, when something is presented as fact, I am diving in. I'm not just reading headlines. I'm trying to dive into the articles and read what is actually being presented, and then fact checking that information for myself to find out what exactly is being presented, and is that thing that's being presented even accurate? Is it even true? Because just hearing my friends say that just made me realize how susceptible we all are to falling into that black hole of assuming things are accurate when it's not actually accurate. Sorry about that. My memory card got full because I was talking too much. So after that situation with my friend, I started to kind of look back in time and think about the opinions that I've had, or the reactions I've had to things based off of these opinions that I had that may not have been founded in fact. One thing that I remember very vividly remembering and thinking about, where my opinion has definitely changed since, a while back. This happened a long time ago, but I was at a grocery store and I was, doing my grocery shopping so I can have food in the house. And as I was checking out at the grocery store, the man who was bagging my groceries was like, "Hey, let me take these out to your car for you." And at first I was like, oh, no, that's okay. You don't need to do that. And he's like, no, I'll help you. It's okay. I'll help you bring your groceries out to your car. I didn't have that many groceries. I probably had like 2 bags. It really wasn't a big deal. But I remember at the time, my initial reaction to that situation was anger. I was mad because this man was offering to take my groceries out to my car for me and help me load them into the car. At the time, all I was thinking about was, oh, he's only asking me if he can help because I'm a girl. He wouldn't be asking me if I was a man. After the situation with my friend, I looked back in time at this when this happened, and I just remember feeling kind of ashamed because he was just trying to be nice. And he was just trying to be a nice person and like a nice guy. I know why I got so mad at the time, but now I would have just taken his help because he offered it. It kind of just made me re-examine, I guess, traditional feminine and masculine roles in the world, and how, especially over the past couple years, I would say, I think there's been kind of this narrative that has made maybe women be a bit more combative toward men than maybe we need to be. I don't want people to like, jump down my throat or anything, but maybe it's not the worst thing in the world to take help from men when they offer it. To be nice and to be gentle and to not be so mad all the time at everything. Especially these days, I think people are just so angry. Everybody wants to be angry at so many different things. And I don't know if that anger is well-founded. And maybe we can do a little bit better of being nicer to each other and talking to each other and having open conversations with each other and finding this middle ground where we can be pleasant and nice and good people. I've been thinking a lot about the roles of femininity and masculinity in people's lives and how maybe, I mean, I could be wrong, but maybe being a bit more feminine as a woman is not necessarily a bad thing. And maybe being a bit more masculine and as a man is not necessarily a bad thing either. It's interesting because over the past few years, masculine traits have been kind of perceived as being overly aggressive and mean and bad, and people tend to throw around toxic masculinity a lot these days. A lot of it, sure, definitely can be founded in some truth, but then a lot of it I don't think is. I think the same can be said for femininity. There's so many women that are so lifted up and celebrated when they are, they get the badass haircut and they are killing it in the workforce, and they're these strong, independent career women, and they're independent and they do it all, and all of that can absolutely be celebrated. But I think when you celebrate those traits, you also perhaps downplay some of the more traditionally feminine traits as well. Being gentle and being loving and kind and caring and things like that, I think, are seen as weak, when I don't think they are weak. I think they're just gentle. And I think over the past couple months especially, but especially now in present day, I'm trying to just kind of accept and embrace natural femininity where it occurs in my own life and seeing where that takes me. I know that recently, like over the course of the past probably month or so, I've been so happy and so, excited about my life because I think partially because I've been embracing that part of myself and being a bit more feminine. Even embracing traits that might be seen as just stereotypical femininity. Things like doing my hair and putting on makeup and wearing dresses and skirts. Not to say that you need to do those things in order to be feminine, but I feel like I have come into myself a little bit more and felt more happy with myself and my own skin since embracing those traits a little bit. And it makes me really excited to especially be that version of myself when my husband comes home, because my husband is what I consider to be a very masculine man. He's very much a protector and very much a provider. He likes that and he does well in that. And I think I'm excited to see and feel, I suppose, our chemistry together when we're together again, because I think for the longest time I wasn't celebrating my femininity and I wasn't being that version of myself because I thought I shouldn't, because society was telling me that I should only be celebrating stereotypically masculine traits. And those stereotypical feminine traits should be kind of smothered a little bit and kind of like, repressed. I'm excited to grow within myself a bit more and see where I'm going to be in the next week, in the next month, in the next couple months, in the next year, and see where my growth occurs, where my growth will happen in my opinions, in my ideas, and I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to see together. I think we're gonna wrap this video up here. Let me know in the comments down below, did anything in this video resonate with you? Have you experienced changing of opinion lately? Or have you been going through a period of change in your life? Where do you think it's going to take you? If you guys liked this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up so I know. And in the comments down below, if you're not going through a period of change, let me know what kind of coffee talk videos you'd maybe want to see next. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Bye!